In the super high-stakes world of maritime operations, some of the most advanced tech out there isn't used to move, it's used to stay perfectly still. Today, we're diving into a really crucial safety update, one that completely changed how the entire industry learns from its mistakes, and, maybe even more importantly, from its near misses. I want you to picture this, a massive vessel. We're talking the size of a skyscraper, just floating out there in the open ocean. And its job is to hold its position with absolute pinpoint accuracy, sometimes for weeks at a time. This is not science fiction. It is a daily reality for ships doing things like deep-sea drilling or construction. The tech that makes this happen is incredible, but boy, is it complex.
And that technology is called dynamic positioning, or just DP for short. The best way to think of it is like a hyper-advanced cruise control that is constantly fighting against the wind, the waves, and the currents. You've got this whole network of sensors and computers making thousands of tiny adjustments to the ship's thrusters every single second just to keep it locked in place. It's absolutely critical for safety.
But what happens when that system starts to fail? Even a tiny deviation can have just catastrophic consequences. For years, the industry tracked these failures, but the way they were doing it had some pretty serious problems. The old reporting system, look, it was a step in the right direction, for sure, but it just wasn't giving them the clear, actionable data they needed to really improve safety across the whole fleet. It was definitely time for a change. So here's the deal. The old system basically boiled everything down to just 3 categories. You had things like loss of position 1 for major events and loss of position 2 for minor ones. But what's the real difference between major and minor? Well, that was often just in the eye of the beholder. The whole thing was subjective, it was confusing, and honestly, the scope was just too narrow to capture what was really going on. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The International Marine Contractors Association, or IMCA, the organization that actually sets these standards, they admitted it themselves. They flat out said the system was subjective and that it could cause confusion about whether an incident should even be reported in the first place. And when safety's on the line, confusion is the absolute last thing you want. So realizing this was a problem, IMCA went back to the drawing board. They came up with a completely new safety framework, a totally new way of thinking about, categorizing, and most importantly, learning from these incidents at sea. So instead of those 3 vague categories, we now have 5 very distinct tiers. And you can see they move really logically from the most severe event, a DP incident, all the way down to the most proactive level, which is a hazard observation. Let's break down what these actually are. All right, so what do these 5 tiers actually mean for a crew on the bridge of one of these high-tech ships? Let's go through them one by one. Okay, at the very top, you've got the most serious one, a DP incident. This is a clear-cut, major failure. The vessel has lost its automated control, its position is gone, and it triggers a red alert. That's the highest level of emergency, and it means you need to take immediate action to make the situation safe. One step down from that is a DP undesired event. This is where something has gone wrong, maybe an unexpected drift, that's serious enough to trigger a yellow alert. It's a major warning sign that things are deteriorating and you need to intervene, but you haven't quite hit that critical failure point of a red alert yet. Now this third one, DP downtime, is actually really interesting. This isn't about losing your position, it's about losing your backup systems, or sometimes just losing confidence in the equipment. If a key thruster fails, the ship might still be holding its position just fine, but it's lost its redundancy. The safe thing to do, the right thing to do, is to stop operations and fix the problem. This category captures that crucial decision. And here is where the system gets really truly proactive. A DP near miss. This is for something that went wrong, it affected the system, but maybe through sheer luck or some really quick thinking, it didn't escalate. This is the system's way of capturing all those "pew, that was close" moments so that everyone can learn from them. And these examples just make it so clear. Imagine one of your positioning lasers gets confused by a weird reflection off a nearby platform. Or a crane swings its load right through the line of sight of another sensor. The system might have just hiccuped for a second and then recovered. Nothing truly bad happened, but it so easily could have. That's your near miss. And finally, we get to the most forward-thinking category of all, the hazard observation. This is all about spotting a recipe for disaster before a single ingredient has even been mixed. It's a situation that has the potential to cause a problem, even if the system is working perfectly at that very moment. Just look at these examples. Placing a laser target right where people in reflective safety vests are going to be walking past it all day, that's a hazard waiting to happen. Planning a crane lift that's going to swing right by a critical sensor, that's a hazard. Finding out that one single GPS unit is feeding bad data to all your compasses, creating a hidden single point of failure, that is a huge hazard. This category basically encourages crews to think like safety detectives. And the reporting itself got smarter too. For those really serious events, the incidents, undesired events, and downtime, the system makes you do a deep dive into the root causes. But for the near misses and hazards, it's all about getting a quick, clear description out to the whole fleet so everyone is aware of the potential risk right away. Okay, so we've got new labels, new forms, but what's the real impact here? Beyond all the jargon, why does the shift in thinking actually matter so much? The big shift is right here. It's a fundamental change in the entire safety culture. The old system was reactive. It was focused almost entirely on analyzing things that had already gone horribly wrong. This new system, it's proactive. It creates a formal way to identify and learn from near misses and hazards. The events that are the warning signs of a future failure. And this new focus is captured perfectly by a new metric they started tracking: DP hours since the last incident. Think about that. Instead of just counting up all the failures, this metric celebrates success and continuous safe operations. It creates this positive incentive to not just avoid the worst, but to actively hunt down and eliminate risks at every single level. Ultimately, this whole story is about learning not just from failure, but from near failure. It's a blueprint for building systems that can see trouble coming and adapt before it even arrives. And it really makes you wonder, right? Where else could we apply this kind of thinking? In what other high-risk industries, or even in our own lives, could we benefit from a system that's designed to learn from what almost happened?